The essence of poverty is that it annihilates the future. Because I agree with George Orwell and believe society is best served when we protect the future rather than endanger it, I'm going to persuade you on why the US needs to implement a federal jobs guarantee. I would like you to consider this proposal in the near future when supporting or voting for political candidates. I've completed research about a federal jobs guarantee and have extensive personal experience from debating this topic for months in debate. Today, I will cover why implementing a federal jobs guarantee will help our economy recover from the pandemic, while also developing our nation's crippling infrastructure. And last, but perhaps most importantly, help fight against automation and give workers a platform to unionize. I would like to first begin by discussing why a federal jobs guarantee will help our economy recover from the coronavirus pandemic. First is that recovery from COVID is going to be critical for the near future. As Blackwell in 2021 explains, that 20.5 million people are unemployed due to the coronavirus pandemic, and that we need a solution to this problem because of the widespread issue it has on our society as a whole. A federal jobs guarantee would do exactly just that, because by implementing a federal jobs program, it would be similar to policies such as the New Deal, where the federal government steps in and provides services to people who are unemployed. And a guarantee means is that everybody can enact in the program, whether you're 18 or you're 65. There's no qualifications for the matter as long as you don't have a criminal background. And this guarantee is going to be key to solving poverty. As Zalewski in 2012 explains, that poverty is the greatest inhibitor to economic growth. Meaning is that if we want to actually recover as a nation, we need to solve poverty, and the only way we can do that is through the federal jobs guarantee. But second is that a federal jobs guarantee will boost economic growth in the long term. Paul in 2018 explains is that when a federal jobs guarantee was implemented in India, lower class wages in the private sector increased by 13%. So we're not just talking short term, but in the long term, a general federal jobs guarantee is going to lead to more growth and more opportunity for the lower class. But secondly, Chernava in 2018 explains that for the economy as a whole, a federal jobs guarantee would raise America's GDP by $560 billion and create over 4 million new private sector jobs. So in the long term, there are solutions that the federal jobs guarantee simply provides. Now that we discussed a federal jobs guarantee help in the economy, we will now discuss its impact on being able to solve the US's crippling infrastructure. Kerry in 2019 explains is that the infrastructure report card gave the US a D+ in its national ranking in terms of infrastructure. Our infrastructure is a complete disaster, and we need to develop these specifically in rural areas. And the federal jobs guarantee is once again going to be the solution to this problem. As Cory Booker, a senator inside of the US Senate, explains in 2019, is that his proposal for a federal jobs guarantee would focus specifically on rural areas where there's not much infrastructure to begin with. Think of Appalachia and West Virginia. When you go through a drive through the mountains, it's often very rough and bumbly. That's because the infrastructure hasn't been updated since the 1950s and the policy similar in the New Deal. But Appalachia is going to be solved whenever you have proposals like Booker's because it goes into these areas and it develops them. But secondly, is that by developing infrastructure, we can actually solve for our nation in the long term as well. As the Scaling Up and Improving Infrastructure for Poverty Reduction in 2007 explains, is that infrastructure is one of the leading factors of private investment. Because a problem with rural areas is that they simply don't have the private sector investment in order to get ahead. Nobody wants to invest because what's the point in investing in a failed project? By developing infrastructure, it inherently allows them to get a foothold in the economy and to be given the same platform that everybody ought to be given. But secondly, Blackwell in 2020 explains is that they're going to build broadband cell towers inside these rural areas, and 70% of Americans use this for their internet job search. Meaning is that we can actually get rural areas into the foothold of the economy and be able to compete with urban cities. So you no longer just have rural who's left behind, it can compete with those who live in these metropolitan areas. Now that we discussed the development of infrastructure, we will now talk about the federal jobs guarantee ability to fight automation. Automation is a massive threat. Loomis in 2021 explains is that 5.5 million workers in Ohio are at risk of being automated today. That's just in Ohio, not a national average. And by implementing a federal jobs guarantee, we are going to help these people. As Adam Sick in 2020 explains, it's that 82% of jobs lost since February are easily automated away and will never come back. By implementing a federal jobs guarantee, we're going to give them a platform and an opportunity to be employed. Because even though they're automated away and they work service jobs like janitors and cashiers, they can enact in the federal jobs guarantee since it's a guarantee for all. But secondly, it provides a livable wage of $15 per hour. Meanwhile, when they're making $8.75, they can go to the federal jobs guarantee and make $15 an hour, because that's what the proposal says. Meaning is it's actually going to be better for the lower class citizens inside of the long term. But secondly, it's going to increase the power of workers. First is that the workers can demand higher private wages due to a federal jobs guarantee. Because if you're working at McDonald's and making $8.75, you can go to the federal jobs guarantee and make $15. Meaning that the private sector must raise their wages to a livable standard or you're going to leave. So what we're going to see is an increase in private sector wages and the ability to actually fight back against automation. You are no longer a displaceable worker, you are a person that matters inside of our society. But secondly, is that Yenny Lee in 2018 explains, is that automation increases the income gap and decreases wages. So that means we must solve it. That's a critical issue, and the only way we can effectively do this on a national scale is through the Federal Jobs Guarantee Program. I would like to close with the following statements. We have specifically looked at a federal jobs guarantee's ability to recover the economy, develop our infrastructure, and help workers fight back against automation. I hope that I have successfully informed you about why a federal jobs guarantee is so crucial to our country and the near future. Our society might be flipped upside down, but throughout history, our will has allowed us to bounce back time and time again. So when you're considering candidates in the future or just looking at policy proposals, make sure a federal jobs guarantee is in the mix. Thank you.